All right, we are on. So I just stumbled upon this thing like the marketing funnel thing, like how do you figure out what you do, right? How do you figure out which skills to learn and which skills to not learn? So I thought this would be this would be applicable to anyone who has like multiple interests, right? So I have multiple interests, and it was super effing hard, super effing hard to figure out, okay, what the hell do I want? And I was listening to Homoji, like Alex Homoji, right? And he's a guy who makes 250 million a year. I believe he's going to be a billionaire in the next 5 to 10 years. So I was learning these concepts from him also, and this concept came to my mind. So this is the thing: to become a CEO, to become a founder, to become CMO, CRO, whatever is your goal. Like, let's say you don't want to become a CEO, but you have a specific thing on your mind, right? You want to become a thing, right? And I was like, okay, what the hell do I do? Like, what the hell do I learn? Like, do I just go only one side? Do I just maximize only one thing, which will be 100% in one thing? Then everything else will be zero. Do I do that? Or do I just maximize everything and I just scatter my focus, right? Let's say I just focused on everything and everything is just kind of meh, right? It's just like 50%, 50%, 50%, 50% in all cases. So what do I do? Do I maximize one thing 100%, or okay, so the thing is, do I maximize one thing 100% and make everything else 0%, or do I make everything else 50%, 50%, 50%? What do I do, right? So here's the thing: in life, I believe, this is my concept, I believe, first you have to try all things as much as you can, because this will be the experimentation stage. This is the experimentation stage to figure out what you actually like to do and what problems are there in the market to see, right? And what gets paid high freaking money. You need these things to see. Like, you need to, like, the thing is, I want you to be a Swiss army knife, not just one knife, one butcher knife. I want you to be Swiss army knife, meaning you go and learn every freaking thing you can, as much as you can. Then you'll start to see the patterns, right? You'll see what you like to do. Yeah, and you see the problems in the market. Oh, I see, here is a problem. I see here is a problem. And what gets paid high money? Okay, which market do I target? Which market segment do I target? Do I target the premium market? Do I target the consumer market? Do I target the mid market, right? What do I do, right? Then our goal becomes uh, to become the Swiss army knife, because you learn everything, right? You know knowledge about most things, but you are not a master of anything yet. And that's completely fine, because now you had learned to become the Swiss army knife, and you had learned all the fundamental traits and qualities. Like, you learned persuasion, you learned sales, you learned psychology, you learned manipulation, you learned perception, you learned how people think. You learn, okay, what triggers people at what stage. You learn, okay, if I say this thing, this will trigger them. You learn these things, you learn business, marketing, sales, all of this psychology, manipulation, perception, right? All of these things, and so on. Then you pick one thing that you like to do most, because you tried everything, and you'll see what you like to do, what's the market problem, which one gets paid high amount of money. Then what I want you to do is, I want you to go 100% on that thing. Let's say you want to become a tech CEO, and there's an example here. Let's say you want to become a tech CEO. Now, you don't just learn coding. You learn everything about coding, which will be, you will be going 100% in the coding thing. If you wanted to become a tech CEO, you go there 100%. Then you also maximize other things, which will be skills, perception, manipulation, frameworks, business, marketing, sales, all of these things. Like, how do you deal with these people? How do you deal with the employees? How do you deal with the buyers, sellers? How do you deal with the customers? How do you retain clients? All of these things you are learning, right? you are learning, but you are not known for that thing, and you are not maximizing those things, but you are learning them. Now you maximize the coding thing, and that one thing becomes the 100%, and you are known for that thing. But to achieve that one thing, you have to also maximize other things to above 80 or 90%. You have to know how to manipulate, how to sell, how to understand psychology, how to trigger the points, right? If I say this thing, what happens here? And you need to be able to understand the third party, the other party, and you need to be able to see from the third point of view, not only your point of view, because they are not looking from your point of view. And this is how I think. I always look from the third point of view and the other person's point of view. Because if I was in their scenario, what did I think of me if I was doing this, right? And yeah, uh, yeah, that's the thing. That's the main concept. Become Swiss Army knife. You'll find the things that you like, and then you learn these fundamental principles, right? That how people work, how the markets work, how other things work, right? And here's an example. I just This is what I wrote, and I gave this to AI, and it gave a bunch of things here. So here's the thing. Let's look at the CEO example, right? Or tech CEO. A tech CEO's vision might be, oh, I want to build the best product in specific sector, like let's say B2B sector, right? He might have a vision and a product strategy, and he might know coding, but he has all of these other skills stacked below him, right? He has maximized one thing: coding, vision, product strategy, right? He has this one thing. Now he learned other things, uh, sales and persuasion, psychology, marketing, frameworks. He learned these other things, right? And he had to be able to convince the investors. He had to be able to hire top talents. He had to be able to sell the vision to the market. He has to be able to do those things, otherwise it's not going to work, right? And psychology, he has to be able to understand the user behavior. Okay, how do people move? How does the market moves, right? Marketing, he has to be able to communicate the value. He has to be able to offer the value. And the frameworks, he has to be able to structure the organization. He has to be able to find out the points which triggers what, right? And these are all the underlying frameworks which he has been stacking all those years by learning them. And then he maximized his coding, which will be 100% on coding, 80%, 90% on sales, persuasion, psychology, marketing, frameworks, and relationship, and all of these things, right? He's stacking all those skills. Now he's known for a tech CEO, right? That's the thing. If you can maximize all of this 100%, that's fine. If you can't maximize it to 80 to 90%, that's fine. Just maximize one thing to 100%, then maximize other things as much as you can, above 80% at least, outside, right? And um, that takes your just does not become like a product strategist, right? He becomes a product strategist who can sell, who can understand people, who can build a business around their idea, no matter what, right? And that's the combination that these big guys has. Like, this just hit me today, and that's why I was okay, literally like, okay, let me write it down because I might forget it later on. So you have to learn all these skills, become Swiss Army knife, maximize one thing to 100%, then maximize other things as much as you can to 80%, 90%, as much as you can. But the fundamental things will be fundamental lessons will be learn these sales and persuasion, psychology, perception, like marketing frameworks. You have to learn this if you are starting a business or whatever. It does not matter, because you live in a society and you deal with people, and you need to be able to communicate the things, right? So that's what I was saying. And think about this: Apple's font calligraphy. Steve Jobs learned the calligraphy in, I believe, college or high school somewhere. He learned the calligraphy, but he did not know where he was going to use at that time when he was in college or high school, whatever it was. Later on, he started Apple, Steve Jobs. Then he used that font in the Apple, right? That became the premium font for Apple. Same thing. You never know which thing will be useful at what times and where and how. You never know. The thing is, you can stack all these skills even though you have not maximized. you will be able to see the patterns. Okay, this thing here, this thing is here, this thing is here, and you can combine all of those things and you can see the patterns, and that becomes a unique thing. But you maximize one thing, then you maximize all the things to 80%, 90%. So that's the whole point. Okay, that's all. Yeah, that is it. That's all I wanted to say. That's all I want to record because I don't want to forget whatever I'm writing here. All right, that's all. All right.